Right. Good afternoon. Welcome to class. I'm Mr. Gallup. You are in Algebra 1 Honors. We're going to jump right in. As I go through math stuff, I will sprinkle in rules for my classroom, procedures, and things like that. Right now, everyone needs a colored pen. And this is going to be every single day. We mark up our work with colored pens. It can be a colored pencil. It can be a marker. You're going to take it out every day on your own like a mature 8th grader. If you don't have one at the moment, that is perfectly reasonable, and I have a collection of markers that I am more than happy to loan. If you need a loaner for today, just raise your hand and I will come around. A black pen. Looks just like pencil. We color. Color. Blue, purple, orange, green, gold. Some bright color that's going to show up easily on your paper. Now, your pencil is going to go onto your desk. This is actually partially a security procedure. Your pencil's on your desk and your colored pen is in your hand. You can be changing your answers while we're grading. It's not a big deal, though, because we're all going to be 100% honest in this room. It's a requirement for my class. So let's jump into the math and see how we did on today's warm-up. Number 1, what did you get as your answer? We'll start with Aaron, and I don't know a lot of your names. Aaron, and then what's your name? Christian. Aaron, and then Christian, and then look at the letters and numbers in the upper left-hand corner of your desk. The number is what you're going to need right now. Number 5. Number 5. Okay, what's your name? Isabella. So we got Aaron, Christian, Isabella. Aaron, go. What'd you get? Okay. Christian? Okay. So you agree with what he said. Okay, so we have some disagreement. I'm blanking. Angela, I'm so sorry. Angela, go ahead.
2.17.
So we seem to have a few people who say 2.17. Well, the correct answer is 2 1/6. However, before you mark your paper, first of all, you can mark with a C or an X. If it's right, you put a C, an X if it's wrong. But don't do it yet, because 2.17 is approximately equal to 2 1/6. So if you put 2.17, you're more than welcome to mark your answer correct for today. Starting tomorrow, you will not be allowed to convert to decimals. You will have to deal with it as a fraction. That's starting tomorrow. So for today, 2.17 I will take. 2 1/6 is the best answer. And we'll talk about how that was done in a couple of minutes. What about number 2? What did you get? We'll start with Natalie, and then we'll go to Shannon, and then we'll go to Kiara, and number 5 again. Isabella, was it? Okay, who's up first? Go ahead. Okay. All right, you agree? Go ahead. Kiara? I'm sorry, I'm messing up your name. Tatiana. Go ahead. What is it?
23.
Oh, you agree as well, and I apologize for messing up your name. You agree with them? 23. I got 4 people who say it's 23. The correct answer is 23. I apologize if I messed up your name. Don't worry, I'll remember and I'll get the new ones. Okay, so next, Mr. Gallup thing. There's going to be often times where I ask the whole class a question and I need a response from everybody. I use a thumbs up system. Putting a thumbs up means you put your thumb up like this and you just put it between in front of your body. And that is so that you are communicating directly with me. This means everyone turns around and looks and says, well, who has their hand raised? Who has their hand? That's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to have you communicate directly with me, so you give a thumbs up. For example, give me a thumbs up if you are wearing gray today. Good, put your thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up if you got both questions on the warm-up correct. Two people, three people. Very good, put your thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up if you got at least one of them correct. That's a lot of people. Good, put your thumbs down. Excellent. So let's start with number 1. Now you can use your hand. Tell me if you did this one using fractions and you got it correct. And that's what I expected. So now you actually have to learn something, and when you walk out this door today, you have to make sure that you know the concepts that I'm going to talk about, because it's the last time I'm going to go over it. These concepts you're supposed to know coming into algebra. They're not concepts you learn while you're in the class. So, we're going to start with this. What do you do first? Could someone put into words what we do first? Got 3 people, 4 people who think they have an idea? In the back, please tell me your name. Say it again. Ethan. Ethan, what do you do first? Very good. You evaluate the exponent, but there's no number here, so how do I deal with that? I'm sorry? What key? Ah, very good. So what am I supposed to do with these pieces of information?
Replace the variable.
That was beautifully said. Beautifully said, Ethan. You replace the variables with these numbers. So for my students who didn't do this, make sure you follow along. What we're going to do, excuse me, that's not supposed to look like that. So we're going to rewrite 6 times, and now we have x squared, but x is 1/2. So we're going to put 1/2 squared plus z is 2/3. That's what you should have done first. I have no issue from today through the end of the year if you can do math mentally. If you can do some math mentally and get things right every time, by all means, do math mentally. But when you are not doing mental math, you write things down. You don't write things down on a separate sheet of paper. You don't write things on your hand like someone was doing this morning. You write it down right where we're doing the question. That is not optional, that is just the way it is. Now, Ethan already helped us with the next step, which was, and I love the word he used, we have to evaluate that. And here's a major concept you need to know when you walk out the door. What does 1/2 squared mean? What am I supposed to do? What's your name? What is it? Mantravius. Go ahead. That was beautifully said. This means 1/2 times 1/2. So let me take a little side trip over here. 1/2 times 1/2. So you're supposed to already know that that's 1/2 times 1/2. So I'm taking a little side trip over here, but now we need to do this. How do I multiply a fraction times a fraction? Number 13. How do you multiply a fraction times a fraction? And if you don't know, just say, I don't remember because it's first day school. Okay. That's a good excuse for today, bad excuse starting tomorrow. Okay? Angela. Multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 1/2 squared is the same thing as 1/4. And so what this turns into is a 1/4. We didn't use the rest, so 6 comes down, and the plus 2/3 comes down. Now, I know already that if you did not know how to do this, then you definitely don't know how to do this, because it's the same thing. But maybe it's coming back to you. So how do I do that? Go ahead, Shannon. 1 under the 6 and multiply across. And so now we have 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. Plus 2/3. Six fourths plus 2/3. How do we do that? I'll admit, I taught 7th grade math last year, and we did not spend much time doing that, and so I would not blame you for not knowing. However, you have to know. So starting today, you have to know what to do. How do we deal with 6 fourths, 2/3? Got one person who has an idea, 3 people who have an idea. What's your name, gentlemen? Jacob. What do we do? You can use a regular word. You don't have to use the fancy word. I'm sorry? Okay. Good. What were you going to say about Travis? Yeah, the denominator. To add or subtract fractions, we need to have a common denominator. And here's where your brain power and being a high-level math student is going to make your life really easy. Because it's really not that hard. It might take a few times to remember and some practice, but it's really not that hard. And I have a little trick that I do. Most of the time, I don't bother trying to find the least common denominator. All I do is multiply these two together. So you immediately know that the denominator is going to be 12. So this is going to be something over 12 plus something over 12. But now you have to convert the top. You can't just leave the top alone, and that's the key. So to get the 12, I multiplied this times 3, which means I must multiply that times 3, and that's 18. To get the 12 here, I multiplied this times 4, which means I have to multiply that times 4, which means that is an 8. Now we can add. 18 and 8 is 26. We get 26 twelfths. And then we put that in simplest form. When you put it in simplest form, you get 2 1/6. Now, this looks like an awful lot of work to do an addition and a multiplication and a power. So, is this what you're supposed to do every time? No. This is what I call training wheels. What's the purpose of training wheels when you're learning to ride a bike? What's the purpose of the training wheels? To help you. Are you supposed to keep the training wheels on forever? What's supposed to happen? When do you take them off? Say that again a little bit louder. When you're ready. So that's the point, is that I don't expect you to do all of this math in May. In May, you should look at this and think it's a joke, and you should be able to do half of this mentally. But today and tomorrow and the rest of this week, yeah, you might have to write out a bunch of math to do a simple computation. But it's training wheels, and then you take them off, and then you can do it without it. Okay? Does anyone have any comments or questions or concerns about number 1 or number 2 or anything at all so far? Good. Well, we're doing a great job so far. And that was just a little warm-up, and you're going to have a warm-up every single day, and the way you guys did it was perfect. Came in, get started. That's exactly what you do. So now let's talk about this room. Welcome to Algebra 1 Honors. I am Mr. Gallett. I will be your math teacher this year. We have a lot to talk about today, a lot of things to go through. If you have any questions, concerns, or issues, you just raise your hand and wait for me to call on you, and I will get to you as quickly as I can. First of all, what is algebra and why do we study it? You can't put your feet there, you need to move your desk back. Thank you, perfect. Thank you. So I get this invariably at some point every year. Why do we study it and what is it? Well, I'm not going to stand here and tell you it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that when you're 25, you're going to be doing algebra every day. I'm not going to because it's not true. But I will tell you the real reasons. First of all, algebra is a powerful tool. And in fact, it's a necessary tool to do more complicated things later on. For example, engineering. Any form of engineering. You will need to have algebra mastered to deal with the ideas involved in engineering. Lots of the sciences, economics, finance, architecture. I could go on and on. There are tons of different careers that involve algebra. And I'm not saying they involve algebra every day. It's not like every day you're going to sit down and solve an equation. What it means is that you had to know how to solve the equation to then do the more advanced work that you have to do in your career. Okay? Any questions about that? The word is an Arabic word. It actually means bringing together broken parts. The word comes from Arabic because it was invented by an Arab mathematician. Now, every year I try to pronounce his name, and every year I butcher it, so I'm not going to try. His name is Muhammad, and I'll leave it at that. But this is a very, very old system of mathematics. Very, very old. It's been around a very long time, and has just been built upon and built upon. And finally, the most important reason, and that probably most applicable to you, is that algebra is considered a turning point. Up until maybe last year a little bit, and up till about now, you have thought of things concretely. And that doesn't mean that we're talking about walking on concrete. When I say concretely, I'm talking about objects that you can see, touch, taste, smell, and hear. Concrete. You can deal with it, manipulate it with the 5 senses. And this year, you are going to be asked to do things that are abstract. Does anyone know what abstract is? Good. Abstract means it's up here. You cannot manipulate it with the 5 senses. You can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, hear it. Now that doesn't mean we're not going to write things down and you can't see them, but what I'm saying is that you can't have an object that's algebra. It's an idea. That's very difficult. And that is why not everyone can do algebra. And that is why not everyone can handle it. It's because your brain has to be at a certain level to be able to move forward with it. Okay? And that's the most important reason for you as an 8th grader. Anyone have any questions about what it is and why we study it? And there are many, many more reasons. Okay? Some examples. And you do not have to write this down, you just need to look. These are all examples of things that you will be able to do by May. For example, you will be able to do that. Not only will you be able to do it, you will be able to do it well, if you're in my class. You will be able to do In fact, you're going to learn the basics of that in the next couple of weeks. You will be able to do that. Give me a thumbs up if this looks easy to you. Give me a thumbs up if that looks easy. Okay? Put your thumbs down. It's actually funny, compared to the other two, that's actually very easy. Once I show you how to do this, this is actually not a big deal at all. These are extremely challenging and take time and effort. This, not very difficult. That's a division symbol, by the way. You will be able to divide that by that. That's very hard. You will be able to multiply. And one of the biggest things you're going to do this year is graphing. And you will be able to do graphs such as these by the end of the year. You will learn how to graph a parabola by hand. And you will learn how to graph a system of equations, which is a line, another line, and then another one. And that's shaded in right there. Does anyone have any questions about any of the examples that you are seeing? Any comments? Any concerns? All right, so let's talk about what you need. You do not have to copy this down. This list is on my website, and I'm going to talk about my website in a little while. But I want to make sure you understand my expectations. So first of all, you need a 1-inch or 1.5-inch binder. I do not like my students carrying around heavy things. It's not good for you physically. It's not good for your back. Unfortunately, you're in Learn Stars B. You're taking 3 high school classes, which I'm going to talk about again in a few minutes. But 3 high school classes, that's a lot of work. 3 regular classes is a lot of work. 3 high school classes is an extreme amount of work. So you might have to carry some heavy things, but I don't really like the idea, so I try to make it as simple as possible. This is a 1-inch binder. You can see it's pretty thin. So fill it with some paper, and you're going to see in a moment you're going to also need graph paper. So fill it with some loose leaf paper and some graph paper. No dividers, nothing else. This is it. This is all you need. Okay? But that means that maybe after the first quarter, you might need to take some stuff out, leave it at home, don't throw it away because you're going to have a semester exam, and then put in some new paper. Any questions about that? Okay, so you need 1-inch binder, lots of paper. You also need lots of graph paper, preferably with the holes in it already, so that you can easily take it in and out of the binder. The binder is on purpose. So if you already have a spiral notebook, that doesn't mean you're a bad person, but you now need to go home and make sure you have one of these. If you go home and your parent says, I already bought you supplies, I'm not buying you anything else, then you come to me and you say, Mr. Gallup, my parent won't get me a new binder, can you help me? And I will say, yeah, I have about 50 of these sitting in a closet and they're all brand new. And I will give it to you. So just ask, okay? Everyone must have one. Loose leaf paper, graph paper. Pencils, pencils, and pencils. You are in 8th grade and you are taking a high school honors class. You are not allowed to be the young person who walks in the room and says, I have a pen. Can I use a pen? Is that all right? We don't do that anymore. You need a pencil because you're going to be erasing constantly. You're going to be drawing pictures. You're going to be drawing diagrams. A mechanical pencil is great. Erasable pen is the same thing as a pencil, so you don't have to ask me about that. As I already explained, you need a colored pen, pencil, or marker. My loaners were for today. Moving forward, you need your own. I would get several. We mark things up in pen. We do some other things with pen, so you need it. Any questions about that? And calculator. You need a regular, basic, simple calculator. You don't need anything fancy. And what I mean by that is, this is a scientific calculator. This is a graphing calculator. These are very expensive. We don't need them. If you already have one of these, that's fine. If your parent already got it for you or you had it last year, that's fine. Bring it in. But if you're going to this week go get a new calculator, then I just want a basic one like this or like the FCAT calculator. Any questions about that? Again, this list is on my website. I'm going to show you where in a little while. Okay, this class is a high school course. It will be graded differently than the courses you took last year and your other non-high school courses. The biggest thing is this first item right here, tests and quizzes, is 55%. In a regular Millennium class, it's 40%. It's a big difference. You mess up one quiz, it's probably not going to destroy your grade, but if you mess up all your quizzes and your tests, it's not going to be good. Classwork and homework, 25%. Together, that and that is 80% of your grade. That's almost your entire grade right there. Tip is 15, and star and due make up 5%. We'll talk about due at another date. One nice thing is that you do not have any quarterly exams. However, it's a good news, bad news thing. You do have a semester exam, which is also called a midterm, and an end of course exam, which means you have an exam, a major exam in the middle of the year and a major exam at the end of the year. The lowest grade I give on tests and quizzes is a 50%, and I'll talk to you about that more in the future as it comes up. Don't worry about that right now. Any questions about how you will be graded? Okay, nothing at all? All right, because this is a high school class, you are getting this letter. And you probably got one just like it already this morning, and if you didn't, then you will be getting these letters. This letter must be filled out with your name and signature, pass it across, and your parents' name and signature, and then it must be brought back to me. Everyone get a letter, and immediately write your name where it says student name, and then sign where it says student signature, and put today's date. You have my class tomorrow. Part of your homework is to bring this letter back signed. You are a semi-mature 8th grader. There's no reason why you need more than one day to do it. All right. Let's talk about technology for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to do a different activity, and then I'm going to come back to technology at the end of the class. There's 2 websites that you're going to be using with me very frequently. Bless you. My website, which is this first one, and you must spell this correctly, that says algebron.blogspot.com. algebron.blogspot.com. For those of you who had me last year, it's the same website. It needs to be bookmarked. You're going to be using it frequently. The other website is the textbook website, and you are going to get digital assignments this year. And to get access to them, you have to have this website, and you are going to get a login and password from me as well, but I'm going to give that out to you later in the week. And this website is my.hrw.com. Go home, type that in, bookmark it, and you'll use it again later in the week. So I'm going to take a moment to go over my website. Now, this is what it looks like right now. This is live. It's pretty plain. It's not the most exciting looking thing, but it's going to be incredibly important for a number of reasons. First of all, I have resources along the left-hand side over here that you are going to need. For example, you're going to, starting tonight, need to memorize a whole bunch of formulas. I have digital flashcards prepared for you already right here. And later on, if we have time, I will show you how they work. I told you that there are supplies lists already here. You click here and you'll get the supplies list. You are also going to have to memorize the perfect squares from 1 to 20. For example, 10 squared is 100. You probably already knew that. What's 11 squared? Anyone know? Natalie? It is 121. Very good. So you need to know all your perfect squares from 1 to 20. There's flashcards made for you right there. And it's made in Quizlet, which is really cool because there's an app on the iPhone, on Android, on iPads, and other tablets. And you can also play it right on the computer. So you could literally just take out your cell phone on the bus and actually be studying Quizlet flashcards right there. And it's actually a very effective way. Okay? There are help links over here. This website, Algebra Nation, we are going to use later on in the year. That's going to be a critical piece. And there are some other things down here that I'll go over. The most important thing is going to be what shows up here. I screencast all of my lessons. What that means is that I'm actually recording the lesson right now. I'm actually recording as we speak. And then I post the videos on YouTube. And then they'll show up right here. Or you could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch them on a game system, on a tablet. You know, you can watch it right on the YouTube website. There's a whole bunch of different ways to watch my screencasts. Now, for those of you who didn't have me last year, that doesn't mean that you see your faces or my face. You will see everything that goes on this board, and you will hear all the audio that's going on in the room. And this is actually going to be posted later on today. So all of you who volunteered earlier during the warm-up, you're going to hear yourself on the internet later today. Okay? And that's something that, one, you should be proud of, and two, you should let your parent know so they can hear what's going on in your class. So why do I do this? I do this for a couple of reasons. One, if you miss one algebra lesson, you're in trouble. You're not in trouble because you're a bad person, but you're in trouble because you missed something so critical that you're going to be lost when you come back. And so the expectation is that if you miss one day because you are sick, that's good. You stay home and you take care of yourself. But while you're at home, go on my website, find the lesson that you missed, watch the screencast, and do the work. And when you come back, you're right there with everybody else. That's the expectation. The other reason is you never have to walk in this room during care and go, oh, yeah, I was absent. What did I miss? You never have to ask me that. It's all going to be right here. In fact, if you do ask me, I will probably just go like that. Because my website address is right up there. So this website is going to be critical. It is a critical piece for what we do here. I also will post extra credit assignments and some other motivational videos and other things on this website. Does anyone have any questions about this? Questions, concerns? Okay, so let's go back to our work for today. And let's actually see how well prepared we are for Algebra 1 Honors. You are going to do a classwork assignment, a traditional style assignment where you're going to do an assortment of questions. It's 18 questions. You can think of it kind of like a quick little pre-test kind of thing. you're going to take out, first of all, hold on a second. Do not change the piece of paper. You should still be on the same piece of paper. If you're partway down the piece of paper, you're going to draw a line across your paper like this. And then you're going to write classwork, textbook page 3, numbers 5 through 22. You have to actually write that. You can use abbreviations, but you need to write it. If you're at the bottom of your paper, then you can turn onto the back instead of drawing a line. But I should easily be able to find each section of our daily work. So the assignment is textbook page 3, numbers 5 through 22. And when you're done copying, you're going to literally reach under your desk, carefully take out the textbook that's underneath there, plop it onto your desk, open to page 3, and you're going to start working. Make sure you start at number 5. This morning I had a number of students who didn't pay attention and started with number 1 and did a whole bunch of extra work. And you are going to do these questions to the best of your ability. It's 18 questions. You have 15 minutes to complete them. 15 minutes. When the bell rings, your time is up. If you have any questions, concerns, any problems at all, you raise your hand and I will come to you. Your time is up. Pencils go down, colored pens come up. This is a routine that you will get very used to. For those of you who did not figure it out yet, that clock ticks down for 10 seconds until the loud bong tells you that your time is up. For a classwork assignment, I am going to just reveal the answers and you are going to mark your own paper. You mark your work honestly and fairly. There is no option. In fact, for this entire year, for every homework assignment, you're going to get the answers right up front. So the only way to function in this class is by being 100% honest. Because the most important part is not the answers. The most important part is how to arrive at the answer and how to work towards the answer. So I honestly, even though getting the right answers feels good, it's not as important as the rest. So here are the answers. You, of course, use a C or an X to mark your work. Here we go. The question number is along the left, and then the answer is next to it. And here is the rest. So unfortunately, anything that you didn't finish gets marked wrong in my class. Just like on a test or a quiz, if your time runs out and you don't finish everything, unfortunately it gets marked wrong. So there were 18 questions, and what I would like you to do now is find a little space on your paper and make a fraction with 18 as the denominator, and then you need to count up the number of questions you got correct. So let's say you get 10 correct. Put a 10 on top of the 18. If you got 5 correct, you put a 5. If you got 17 correct, put a 17. But the numerator, the top, is always the number you got correct. And then put a little equal sign. And now we're going to convert that to a percent. Could I have a volunteer remind us, how do we convert a fraction to a percent in a really simple way? 1, 2, 3, 4 people who have an idea, 6 people who have an idea. Ethan. Yep, top divided by bottom. Move the decimal over 2 spaces or whatever you need to do. 10 divided by 18, and that's going to be 56% approximately. Make sure you round to the nearest whole percent. So on your paper, you're going to see this fraction, and then you'll write something like that, so it's easy to see. I don't care if your percent is 20% or 100%. Today, it doesn't matter. Now.
Number 17.
Thank you for pointing that out. There was a number of students in another class who had done that. That, of course, is correct. In fact, I'd say your answer is probably better than mine. So for this question, if you put 1 and 1/24, that is an outstanding answer, and of course mark that correct. There are many different ways to express the same value. We're going to talk about that a lot. Now I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that you may have, keeping in mind that I only have a couple of minutes to do it, but any questions on any of these? And it's simple, you just find one that you got wrong, and you look at it, and you say, yeah, I still have no idea how to do it. I need Mr. Gallett's help. So we'll start with Kianis. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was number 16 and 18, where I was following how you did it in the warm-up, where it had, you just added the top and the bottom to get the answer. Well, this time it had the fractions, but then it had subtraction sign. Do you still
Okay, so do me a favor. Pick one of the questions and then read the question to me.
Number 18, it says 3 over 2 minus 2 over 3.
Okay, very good. And so the subtraction sign threw you off a little bit. Okay, so addition and subtraction of fractions is dealt with the same way, but the last step, you subtract instead of add. That's the only difference. So I could do 3/2 plus 2/3, and the first number of steps is going to be the same no matter what. The simplest thing in my mind to do is just to multiply these two together. Multiply that times that. That will automatically give us a new fraction, but they'll both have the same denominator. But then you have to convert this so that it's correct, and you have to convert this so it's correct. So if I had an addition problem, it would be the same thing. It's going to end up being a 6 and a 6. This one's going to be an add, and that one's going to be subtract. but I still have to convert the top. And it's very simple. What did I multiply the 2 by to get 6? Multiplied by 3. In fact, it's this 3 over here. So we need to multiply the top by 3. The top and the bottom, same thing. Times 3 times 3, this is going to be a 9. Multiply this times 2 to get the 6. Multiply the top by 2, we get a 4. Now the denominator is the same. Subtract the numerators. 9 minus 4, we get 5/6. This would be the exact same thing, except it's an addition problem. It would be 13/6, and then you might want to put it in a mixed number form. Does that clear it up for you? I know it's hard. I'm throwing a lot at you, but you're doing well. Keep it up. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Good. For the last time today, you are going to draw a line across your paper. This is required. Draw a line across your paper. If you're at the bottom of your paper, then just flip the paper over. And now you're going to copy down your homework, which has several parts. First part, make sure you have all the required supplies. You do not have to copy that word for word because you could sum it up in about 2 words. Get supplies. The second item on the list, I am going to have to X out because you're not going to be able to do it because I don't have the textbooks to give you. And even though I called it a workbook, it's really a big softcover book. It's actually stacked over there, but I don't have enough for my classes, so nobody's getting them. So you are going to have a short reading assignment, but we're going to have to wipe that out. And we're going to have to do that on a different day. Okay? That's good news for you. Start memorizing formulas. You will be quizzed next week. At the end of class, I'm going to give you a few minutes to copy down the formulas that I have on the board over there. Don't start copying yet. We're going to go into a couple of other things. The last part of your homework, I'm going to reveal, but I do not want you to copy because I actually have it printed for you on a little slip of paper, and I'm going to hand out staplers, and you're going to staple it right onto your paper. You have a special assignment. You have to find a LearnStar D or E student. LearnStar's D and E were Rocket's D and E last year, and they took Algebra 1 Honors last year with me. And you are going to ask them the following 3 questions. You don't have to write this. I already have it printed for you. You are going to ask them, was algebra easy last year? You are going to ask them, did you work hard in algebra? And then you are going to ask them, was it fun? On your desk, everyone should have hopefully 2, maybe 3 sticky notes. If you would please pick up the sticky notes right now, and on the front sticky note, write your name small, but across the top, and I'm going to do it with you. And then, you guys didn't get? Sorry about that. Did you guys get? Sorry about that. 1, 3, 1, 4. Thank you. And then what I would like you to do is number down the left-hand side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know I only showed you 3 questions, but there are actually 5. So it's going to have your name across the top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to ask them, was algebra easy last year? Did you work hard in algebra? Was it fun? Then, after you write down the answers to those 3 questions, write down the answers on the sticky note. Should be like a yes or no and maybe a word or 2. Then ask, what did you get on the EOC? Then ask them, how did you feel when you got your score? You're going to write all 5 answers on the sticky note. This is due tomorrow, which means you're going to have to find them in the hallway or outside of school when the day's over, or tomorrow morning during care, before you get to my class tomorrow afternoon. Okay? This is a little bit of an unusual assignment. It's the first time I'm doing it. I'm not sure how it's going to go. If one of the LearnStar students, if you ask them and they say that they don't want to answer the questions, then say, okay, and go find somebody else. But hopefully they'll just say, no big deal, and they'll answer the questions. Don't everyone ask the same person. Ask lots of different people. If you see someone asking one student, you ask a different student. The whole point is to get opinions from a whole bunch of people. Okay? Any questions about what I've told you so far? Here's what you're going to do when you walk in my room tomorrow. I gave you extra sticky note just in case you messed up. So you're going to take the sticky note with your answers, and tomorrow you're going to walk in the room and you're going to go, good afternoon, Mr. Gallup. You get to work. That is what it's going to look like tomorrow. And so, after everyone comes in, this board is going to be covered about all around here with blue and yellow sticky notes. And I am going to read them. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay? So, homework. Get supplies, start memorizing formulas, and the assignment where you have to talk to a LearnStars D or E student. Any questions? Yes?
Are the formulas on your website?
The formulas are on my website. There are flashcards prepared for you, and you're going to also copy them down. Yes? Nope. I don't need their name. I'm looking for really the answers. It's a good question. You're the first person to ask. Yeah, I don't need their name. I just want the answers. And I want your name on the paper so I know who did their job. Okay? Don't come back without the sticky note filled out. And, of course, I'll know if you made it up. So don't bother doing that because we already talked about honesty. So that's not an issue. Okay? Good. We're going to continue with some technology stuff. I see most of you have the textbook still on your desk. Nicely close the textbook and carefully slide it underneath your desk. So, let's talk about life on LearnStars. You guys are LearnStars B. Some of you were probably in like Group C or Group D or maybe even a Group E last year. You may be wondering why you're in Group B all of a sudden. So just to put it in perspective, the letter doesn't really mean what you think it means. LearnStars B is taking 3, that's you guys, you're taking 3 high school courses. Triton's E is taking 2. Which means it's more challenging to be in LearnStars B than it is to be on Triton's E. That doesn't mean Triton's E is dumb or anything like that. It doesn't mean LearnStars B is the greatest thing in the world. It just means that it doesn't think what you think it means. It doesn't mean that you're the same as Triton's B and Comet's B. It just means that it's a different scale system. Okay? So you're taking 3 high school courses. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, one cool thing that I don't know, I shouldn't use the word cool. One interesting thing we're going to do this year is everyone is going to be using Google services to communicate and to do assignments and projects and things in all your classes. And I'm going to be the one who gets you all set up. Now, To do that, everyone needs a Google account. You may already have one. If you have an Android phone, you definitely have one, unless it's under your parents' name, which it could be. You may have a Gmail account, like an email address that's Gmail, that's fine. But you're going to establish a new one, just for school, and I'm going to teach you what I want you to do. I'm going to have you do it in a very specific way. But this letter that I'm projecting right up here is going home to your parent. And this letter is asking for permission to do just that, for me to have you in school sign up for a new Google account that we're going to use exclusively for school work. Does anyone have any questions about that? This letter needs to be your student name, print your name, your signature, your name, your signature, the date, your parent's name, parent's signature, the date, cut it. Your parent keeps the top letter. You bring this back to me. Bring it to me only. Okay? Any questions about that? All right, so I'm going to give teams 3 copies. Pass it down. 1, 2, 3. Pass that up. 1, 2, 3. So you can go ahead and print your name if you're ready to, and sign your name. Remember, signatures are script. And I apologize, I forgot to pass out the questions for the other assignments. So I'm going to pass out questions and staplers, and you can just go ahead and staple it into your homework. So you have the questions. There's 3 copies. Staple and pass the stapler around. Do not drop my stapler or I will throw you out the window. Pass those. All right, you guys are team A. You pass these down. Use the stapler, then pass the stapler to team B, then to team C, and then to team D. When you guys are done with the stapler, pass it to team F and then team G. Anyone not getting the questions? Lunchtime is a great time to do the questions of LearnStar students, but should be able to do it in the hallway too. Anyone lost, confused, overwhelmed, anything at all? Okay, next. Because we're going to be using technology so much, I want to know what you have at home. So I am giving you this survey. This is it. You also need to fill this out with your parent and have them print and sign their name. This is for your parents to sign for you to fill out. I want to know what the LearnStar students have at home, because we're going to be setting up a whole bunch of different technology things. And if we have one student, one who doesn't have anything at home for whatever reason, it doesn't make them bad or anything at all. All it means is that we as teachers want to have a plan to make sure they have access to a computer or a tablet or something like that on a weekly basis. So, you are going to fill this out honestly. So if you have, here, I'll do it for myself. I have DSL, which I hate. I have my work computer, a Mac. I have a Kindle HD, and I have a Wii U. And I'm the parent, so I'll write my name, and I will sign my name. And that's what the survey's, and I'll put myself as the student. That's what the survey is going to look like. And I'm going to get this back from everybody tomorrow so I can start figuring out what we've got. Any questions about that? Okay. Pass. 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 And if you have multiple things, you have a Mac, a PC, and a Chromebook, whatever, check off all of them. You have a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox 360, check them off all. If you have nothing, then don't check off anything and make sure your parent signs. Again, this is not meant to be embarrassing or anything like that or negative in any way. This is for us to know what we have to work with. Any questions or concerns? Any comments?